You know, a lot of men practicing NoFap, they go right back into these porn-conditioned sexual habits of ejaculating every time they have sex because they never learn sexual energy skills. Hey guys, I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life. If you want to learn more about sexual mastery, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified when I release new videos. Make sure you get my free ejaculation control course through the link in the video description below. So I'm out here in Sedona, Arizona, one of my favorite places in the world. I was speaking at a conference here over the weekend, and something I wanted to share in this video is what is the difference between NoFap and semen retention? Because this is something a lot of people have been asking me. You know, I had some people come up to me and tell me some of the issues they were having in their retention practice, their NoFap practice. So I want to share a bit of clarity in the differences I see between these two disciplines. So NoFap is a movement that's gained a lot of popularity in the past several years, and I think it's a great sign that men are starting to awaken to the fact that constant ejaculation has been a bit of a control system, right? And that it's keeping a lot of men from their potential, it's depleting them. But NoFap does have its limitations, and I'm going to get more into that. So typically NoFap involves not watching porn and not masturbating, maybe just for a certain period of time or as a lifestyle. But typically men practicing NoFap go back to having regular ejaculatory sex when they begin a relationship, right? And this is where it really differs from semen retention, but I'll be getting more into this. Semen retention is simply the act of retaining your semen, not just when you're on your own, but during sex as well. Now, some men will expect that they're gonna go the rest of their lives without ejaculating. I think that's unrealistic for 99% of men, but at least going intervals of time, you know, significant intervals of time without ejaculating. Maybe that's 2 weeks for you, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 3 months. Depends what your body needs, what's best for you. There's no single time frame that's best for everyone. And with practice, you'll learn to find your ideal interval time. Of course, semen retention is a very loose, word describing a concept. Different men will define it differently. But again, my approach with semen retention is refraining from ejaculation, but not refraining from sexual activity, right? Whether that's solo sexual activity or sex with a partner, right? And this is where NoFap and semen retention, at least my approach to semen retention, has a lot of differences, because the fact of the matter is that for men practicing NoFap, it's mostly based on suppressing. It's based on stopping something, removing something from their life, right? For example, they often start to develop a lot of shame, a lot of guilt around acts of sexuality, specifically self-pleasure. Like, oh, this is wrong, this is guilty, I'm a loser for doing this, I should never touch this area of my body again. What kind of trauma is that going to create, right? If you can't love your own body, if you can't appreciate and give yourself pleasure, how can you possibly do that for someone else, right? When you have this negative mindset around your own sexuality, it's going to affect you in a very negative way. And this whole act of suppression, like, okay, I can't think about sex, I can't have any sexual pleasure, I just have to, force this out of my mind. It's a very contractive pattern. It takes a lot of energy to be suppressing something like that. And typically what you suppress, you actually strengthen in the long run, meaning that, trying to suppress your sexual energy, this is a massively powerful force. And if you're just like, okay, I'm just going to ignore it, it's like shoving a very powerful spring into a closet, right? And the minute you just barely lose your grip on it, boom, it's going to explode back out and you're going to have outbursts in weird ways, right? So suppression simply doesn't work, right? In my opinion, practicing NoFap in this way, it's just not sustainable. You're not going to enjoy going the rest of your life without sexual pleasure, without orgasm, without connecting to your powerful sexual nature, which is really something that makes you human, right? And this is where my approach to semen retention differs greatly, in that it's not about stopping anything. It's not about suppressing anything, but it's about redirecting that sexual energy and having a new relationship with your sexuality, and not suppressing it entirely, but engaging in sexuality in a healthy and conscious way. And the most important thing in this is learning to separate orgasm from ejaculation. There's nothing inherently wrong with masturbating or with having sex. The issue is when you're ejaculating frequently, it depletes your energy. It wrecks your hormones, right? And a lot of men argue that, oh, well, having non-ejaculatory sexual stimulation still affects your dopamine in the same way. It's not the same as having ejaculatory orgasm. And I guarantee if you're sitting looking at a screen right now, scrolling through social media, you are having the same amount of dopamine released in your brain than you would during non-ejaculatory sexual stimulation. But it's at least something more organic. You're connecting to your body, right? And personally, I've never had any dopamine issues from organic, natural, in my body sexual stimulation versus, looking at a computer, looking at porn, masturbating, and ejaculating. It's a completely different experience, right? When you get to know your own body, you'll understand what's good for you and what's not good for you. That's the biggest danger in the world right now, is that people don't know how to integrate information for themselves. They don't know how to listen to their intuition, listen to their own bodies. They go off of information that other people are, throwing out there, and they're bypassing their own body, what's actually good for them, and they're just absorbing information and going on that. We see this in diet, we see it in NoFap, of course, and all kinds of things, right? So what I'm really encouraging you to do is develop a relationship with your body, get to know what is truly good for you, right? So this completely liberates you in a way, this approach of semen retention, because you can engage in sexual activity. Sexual pleasure and orgasm are essential for us as human beings. Having sex, having orgasm, it boosts our DNA, it boosts our cellular reproduction, which is inherently a sexual process. Our body is in a constant state of sex, of orgasm, reproducing itself, cellular reproduction. And when you're not engaging in orgasm, when you're ignoring this important area of your body, your endocrine system starts to dry up. Cellular reproduction is not as efficient. And before you know it, you're miserable. Your life becomes an ego trip trying to fill yourself up with material things because you feel empty inside, right? So sex is very important. Sexuality is very important, but engaging in it in a conscious way, because it's something that can either destroy you or can heal you. And that's the most important thing that I'm trying to share with you guys, is that there's nothing wrong with experiencing sexual pleasure. There's nothing wrong with experiencing orgasm. But if it involves ejaculation every time, it's going to drain you. So my approach of sexual kung fu is all about opening up a new pathway for the sexual energy to express itself. Rather than, nope, can't touch my genitals, you can use self-pleasure as a way to cultivate energy, to cultivate pleasure, to love yourself, to love your body, so that you're not reliant on someone else, so you don't spend your whole life in this codependent relationship needing other people in your life. You learn to master your own sexual energy, learn to master ejaculation control, so that when you do have a partner, you are a masterful lover and you can connect with them very powerfully, because you're not afraid of refraining from sex because you don't want to ejaculate, and you're not going back into these porn conditioned habits. A lot of men practicing NoFap, they go right back into these porn conditioned sexual habits of ejaculating every time they have sex, because they never learn sexual energy skills. So it's not a skillful practice. When you learn to repattern your flow of sexual energy in your body to where it's flowing up through the energy channels so you can have non-ejaculatory orgasms, you gain energy from every sexual experience you have. You learn to have internal orgasms. It charges up your energy, amplifies the function of the endocrine system, and you experience heightened levels of bliss, of clarity, of motivation. You feel good, you feel happy, you are content within your body because you are filling yourself up from within with this natural radiant sexual energy, versus trying to fill yourself up with drugs, with relationships, with external things, with video games, money, objects, right? So basically the biggest difference that I see between NoFap and semen retention is suppressing sexual energy, ignoring it completely without developing skill on how to actually working with it, and then going right back into old habits when you do have a relationship, versus freely engaging in sexual activity but in a more conscious way. When you start to have non-ejaculatory full body orgasms, it changes you. You no longer want to sit and look at sexual images and ejaculate all your life force. You want to hold on to this life force, build yourself up with it, exchange it with your partner, exchange it with the world. You become creative, magnetic, driven, right? Suppressing your sexual energy leads to stagnance. It leads to frustration and irritability. Channeling your sexual energy upwards in the body, keeping it circulating, leads to high energy levels, creativity, an amplified spiritual path, an amplified function of your endocrine system and organ system, and an overall zest for life. So thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn how to make semen retention a sustainable lifestyle, how to channel sexual energy through the body to keep it flowing, how to have non-ejaculatory full body orgasms, how to last for hours in bed without ejaculating, check out my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. I'll put more information in the video description below. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment below. Have a great day, my friends.